Go on then, go and have a play. Go on then. Go on then. You can't get down there, can you? It's too steep. Come on, maybe you can go in down there. Go on then, down there. Here. Come on then. It's a bit steep, isn't it? Oh, let's see. Putting all MLD things to one side, the Durston is unquestionably a very nice tent, and I can definitely see how to many people, especially those that like an inner, you know, will gravitate, you know, towards the Durston, because it is easy to pitch. Once you've, I think the first time you do it, it might be a little bit daunting, but really once you've done it, you know, once or twice, or even watched it being done, it's really quite, you know, it's quite easy to pitch. I think the same as the Duomid or any other shelter, you know, out here, you're still gonna have the same limitations of terrain. You know, if what you're pitching on is not a completely flat area, then like I said, the same with any of these shelters, you're not going to get it right to, you know, right to the ground. So you're going to have the same wind, air getting in at you, unless you've got a very flat pitch as any other shelter. You're potentially going to get the same rain bouncing in on you as you are with any other shelter if you can't get it you know, right to the ground. So I kind of get why it's so popular, but you know, there clearly are plenty of alternatives and, you know, and options out there, and I personally certainly wouldn't be switching out all my MLD stuff, you know, for it. I'm just so used to motor design stuff now that I kind of judge everything against that. Keep watching my videos and you'll see a lot more mountain roller designs. Plus, as I say, I do use other things as well, just to try and broaden one's horizons, you know, a little bit. It's always good to see other things, and it's good to see something new and different on the block, as it were. So this is obviously the top of Dartmoor. It's a weekend, so there's no firing on this range. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, please do like, subscribe, share, hit that notification button to all. Carry on watching. In the same way as I think the Scarp is a very good tent. I think just because someone has an experience in a Scarp and the material tears, probably down to user error, although probably not their fault. I think it was in all innocence, without realizing quite what they were doing. But I think the Scarp is, you know, I think the Scarp's a very good tent. So I will certainly be using Chris's Scarp 1 a few more times before I before I reluctantly send it back. I can't keep it forever, but I just say, you know, obviously if he wants it back, to let me know. But I do want to try his Enan. He's got an Enan, Hillyberg Enan. I want to try that sometime. And I think he's got, I forget the name of the other Hillybergs, but I think he's got a Hillyberg that uses poles the same as obviously the Durston uses poles. There's a few bods around. Had to go off and do a constitution. Let's go and have a crap to you and I. Not that long ago, and it's a good job I missed those dog walkers. And there's a few people the other side of Dartmoor, so it's a good job they didn't pop their heads over. I was kind of half hoping that it would keep until later on this afternoon when there's less chance of people being around, but given I've been here 2 days, 2 nights, and I hadn't been yet, I think I was getting a little bit of a backlog, as it were. So it's quiet, actually. It's quieter today than I was expecting. I mean, yesterday we had, I think it must have been about 4 or 5 groups, but they were probably like Duke of Edinburgh groups, so, or walking groups, and maybe they just walk on a Saturday or something, or that was their day. But it was quite busy yesterday. There was quite a few people, and most of them were walking past camp as well, bizarrely. I'm sure they could have crossed somewhere else to not just walk right through camp, but maybe were pitched in in the best crossing point. But I'd have thought you could cross further up there easily and just walk around camp without having to, you know, literally just cross in camp. Anyway, it was fine. And of course, last time we were here, this river, if you remember, was almost dry. You could almost walk through it. It was so dry, and there was, up until about this point here, there was some water, but not very much, and then it disappeared down under here somewhere, and this bit around here was completely dry, and then the water was coming out just over there somewhere. Okay, well, what I've done here is I've just lowered the central pole a little bit, and here you can see that we've got the edges, despite being raised up there and raised up there, we've got the middle quite low to the ground and tight. This side here is a little bit higher, and it's on the side there, but it's tight. This side here we've got tight, and obviously when the zip is done up, the front there is mostly quite tight there, to be honest. You could maybe just put that in there and just tighten that up, and that's a pretty tight pitch actually there. I think that's even better. I think that's even better than what I had I think it's even better than what I had yesterday or just now, to be honest. I really should sometimes play around with my pitches, to be honest. We're inside here. We've maybe lost, with that extra low pitch, we've lost a little bit of room. This wall is now coming in this way a little bit, but luckily it's kind of worked out by, I don't know, by chance, I think, more than anything else. But this side here is quite steep, so the most important side is by my head, and that is steep there, so I can sit up at the pretty much the head end of my bag here, and I've got plenty of headroom. That's the pole there. Obviously we haven't got the wind, you know, blowing in quite so much at all now. And then that corner over there is, you know, is coming in at a more steep angle, but we've got it, you know, closer, but we've got it closer to the ground there for more weather resistance proof. Obviously if that edge caused a problem, then you could pitch that lower to the ground. That's probably one of my lowest pitches in here, to be honest, and you know, and I've still got plenty of room everywhere, you know, around in here, and I can get to all of the space that I want, you know, easily, or certainly easily enough in here. The temperature minus 0.3. Now the lowest I've seen so far there has been minus 0.4, and we are here with the door open. You don't need to close the door. Everybody closes the door. Why are you all closing the door? The only time that you really need to close the door, in my opinion anyway, for what that counts, is, I guess, if it's, you know, really freezing cold, then you might want to close the door, you know. You know, if it's that cold, and then you might want to. If it's hammering it down with rain and the rain is getting in, or indeed it's snowing and snow is getting in, then quite likely you will be wanting to, you know, close the door. And the other time, you very likely, even more likely actually than the rain, especially if you've got a proper shelter like this, where it can rain and the rain won't necessarily get to you with the door open. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's kind of depends on wind direction, wind speed and everything else like that. But the other time that you probably want to do your door up is if it's very windy or quite windy, and you know, you need the integrity of your shelter, you know, to be intact. Then you may very well, you know, want to close your door. But other than that, you know, that door will most likely stay open, because let's face it, if I was in a trail star, I wouldn't have a door anyway. So, you know, it's not as if I'm not used to camping in sub-zero weather without a door, and plenty of people camp in sub-zero weather in the trail star. Well, not plenty, but certainly some. So anyway, enough of my waffling. So we're here, we're on the Thermarest XTherm, and then under the Thermarest XTherm we have a XLite, you know, foam mat. To make sure we don't slide off the end, as it were, I've put Lass's pack. I've put my trousers over there on top of my boots. Nothing is wet, so, you know, we've not had rain and I've not been in any wet weather, so nothing's going to freeze. We're in this MLD Spirit Quilt 28, and basically inside it I have the MLD bag liner, and that plus the combination of the quilt is keeping my legs warm enough. They don't feel cold. Maybe my toes are comfortable, they're not cold. I've got down booties that I could put on, but at this moment in time I don't feel the need to put down booties on. I've got this supposedly minus 15 PhD jacket on, but I don't know what it is. I like PhD a lot. You know, I buy their stuff. I got their sleeping bags. I like their jackets, but I'm not quite sure what it is with their. I'm not quite sure what it is with their rating of jackets, because there's no way that this is minus 15. You know, it just isn't. It's I'm comfortable in it, and I've got a t-shirt, a shirt, a fleece and a wind shirt under this, and I'm comfortable sitting up in my sleeping quilt thing. You know, it is just no way that it is that temperature rating. But anyway, but then I'm a very cold, I'm a cold-hearted YouTuber, so I'm not really you know, I'm not really surprised at it, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to show you, you know, that we're comfortable, we haven't frozen to death, we're in our lightweight Duomid, and we're, you know, we're more than comfy. Well, this trip we've been using the new German X-Boil. I'll do a video on this another time in a little bit more detail. There's, you know, there's plenty of videos out there on it, obviously, like there's plenty of videos on everything else we all do, but I will do, you know, I will do a video on it, you know, at some time or other. But I must admit, it's good. I found it good. I've used maybe a little bit more fuel with it, you know, because it's not a tight fit. Then obviously some flames do come out the side, and so I'm guessing that, you know, from that it's not as efficient as, say, a Trail Designs or something like that, where the pot, you know, fits exactly into the cone. You know, over my usual time, bearing in mind, you know, I've still got breakfast to do and some more tea, so I did bring some spare with me because I wasn't sure on, you know, how much it would use. You know, realistically, it's not used substantially more. It's kind of used, you know, similar, maybe a bit more. It definitely does use more. But yeah, generally very pleased with it. It's light, it boils very quickly. This 550 Toaks pot, I mean, you can see it's now blackened and everything else, but that pot has worked well. It's done my breakfast, it's done everything I've needed it, you know, to do. And I've heard a few people say they don't like the X-Boil stove, but personally I think it's fine. It takes the fuel, it holds the fuel, nothing spills out, So I don't really know what's not to like about it. It works fine. I can even light it easily, you know, through, you know, like that, without having to take the foil off. So I don't know what's not to like about the X-Boil stove. I think the little stove works fine. I've not had a problem with it. We're slowly starting to pack up now. So we've put our nighttime stuff in here. Now, just for a change, I brought my Osprey pack with me. Just something a little bit different, really. I guess one advantage, you know, if you want an advantage from a pack that has a basic back system, is that when it's, you know, very cold, then you can use the mat to sit on or to do your packing on, you know, and get a lot of your stuff in the pack. But again, that doesn't really matter, you know, to me too much with my system, because I've got the foam mat. So, you know, even if I'm putting the airbag at the back of the pack as my back support, which is what I normally do, because, you know, I tend to use a frameless pack most of the time, then it's really not you know, a problem. You're not going to get cold too quickly, if at all, because you'll be doing most of your packing, you know, on the foam mat. So I just wanted to say that, you know, I've got the Talon 44 here. You know, it's a very old pack. It served me well, but when it's fully loaded, I can't get water. My water bottle's in the side pockets, and I can't get a bladder inside it. But I did post a question on Paul Messner's YouTube group on Facebook, and I think you can get certain, I don't quite know which ones, to comment below. I think you can get bottle holders that will attach to the straps, but they have to be different. They don't, because there's nothing really to attach it to. So if anyone's got any comments or suggestions on how to attach a water bottle or water bottles to an Osprey pack, you know, comment below. That would be useful and, you know, and handy. So, you know, that basically is quite a lot of the stuff in the pack there. There's still a lot more to do. I've got to get the airbed in, my pillow, and then a few incidentals, including the stove. But I just discovered that when coming out, you can't get anything much in the side pockets, which is really disappointing, to be honest. I think I don't know why Osprey do that. You know, the proper you know, the more dedicated hiking packs, you know, they give more space to put stuff into a side pocket. It's like they actually, you know, make the side pocket that even when the pack itself is fully loaded, you can still get stuff in that outer side pocket. That's the end of another walk. Obviously, leave no trace after you have been. Just simply an indentation where my XLite was. Other than that, we've got everything with us. So we've had a very oh, pardon me, fuck. We've had a very enjoyable walk. Lassie's had fun. We haven't done so much Lassie filming this time. I do apologise. kind of just works out how it works out. And obviously we were concentrating on that Durston tent, you know, a lot this time. We had a farmer come over. I saw him heading in my direction on his little buggy, and I thought, uh-oh. You start to get a little bit worried. Mind you, even when, well, I mean, you are still allowed to camp here because they have this agreement now. But even before all this uproar, whenever a farmer would come over towards me, I'd always be a little bit apprehensive that they might sort of say something, even though there's no reason for them to. He was out looking for his collie, so his dog's gone walkabout, so I hope he finds his dog. So if anyone's walking on Dartmoor and you see a collie that isn't Lassie, isn't in the water, mind you, I should imagine by the time this is edited, he will have found his dog, hopefully. But he's still tootling around looking. So fingers crossed he gets his dog back. All right, well, I don't know how the editing is going to go on this. It's been sort of a mixture of filming this trip. So I'm going to sign off now, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video or after the next trip. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time.